public of the relevance of this particular committee. And an anti-corruption campaigner, Edem Senanu, is expressing optimism in the committee and even calling for such a committee to be institutionalized. Listen.
In fact, if you ask me, this should be institutionalized. So every government knows that at the end of the government, in the transition period, one of the committees to be set up will be an anti-corruption the fact-finding committee, allowing citizens who have information so that if you think that in between you're going to hide money or transfer resources or change documentation on land, whatever it is, I think that it's something that ultimately perhaps we should be looking at institutionalized, so people are more cautious when they get into government, knowing full well that there will be this where public members are allowed to submit the information they have. Now, as to the potential for, let's say, witch hunting, I think the reason why their responsibility should be limited only to the extent of gathering the facts, and they need to also be very circumspect and sensitive with how these facts are handled, such that then persons' integrity, reputations are not damaged unnecessarily. So, limiting them to just fact finding. And if they have the right professional expertise, which I assume they do with AS people, Kofi Wachi, the Domlago and Co, Martin, but I think they have the skill set to know how to be sure that the information they are gathering is valid. The overlap is the reason also why they should just gather facts and not get into any investigative prosecution or not. When they get into government fully after 7th January, all such data should be handed over to the OSP or any other relevant organs like CHRAJ for them to do the follow-up.
Well, but another anti-corruption campaigner, Vitus Azim, is questioning the basis for the move when he argues there are already existing institutions who are data mandated to do similar work, and he is worried or is asking why set up such a committee when they have these institutions around already.
The other aspect of it is there are already existing anti-corruption institutions. Are we not happy with what they have been doing? Can't we give them the required resources to recruit professionals and to carry out their work more effectively than we've seen in the past? So these are some of the issues that maybe the positives and the negatives that you may see in this team. Because the president-elect has already promised Ghanaians that he's going to cut down on government expenditures by bringing down the ministers to 60. Now, if you reduce the ministers to 60, but come up with various committees, you are obviously going to pay them, if not a full-time salary, it may be, at least there will be some allowances and costs involved, in addition to the existing anti-corruption institutions. So that's the other side of it that you may also look at.
Well, government has also been reacting, and Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin has been speaking about this particular committee, and he's questioning the rationale behind the setting up of such a committee, and even going ahead to question the source of funding for the committee's activities.
All these things that my respected colleague Ablakwa is saying, they did citizens vetting committee during the revolution. It didn't get anywhere. We know somebody may have to ask Mr. Ablakwa how that committee's work will be funded. If it is a private person who is funding it, they are talking about corruption. We need to know who is funding it, whose money they are going to use to buy fuel, whose money they are going to use to set up the office, whose money, because going around gathering evidence, I'm aware that they've been calling some journalists. Somebody says that, he's going to be Attorney General. He's calling journalists for information and all that, blah, blah, blah. No problem. But we will need to know the committee that he heads, how would that committee be funded? Is it from the state resources, or is an individual who's going to fund it? If it's an individual, then the issue of corruption that they are going to deal with must also be interrogated. How is that individual going to fund their activities? What is this motivation? Is it a citizen who thinks that, okay, I just want to give you money to do this work? On what basis? Why? So we would also interrogate the issues, but it's early days yet.
So that's Alexander Afenyo-Markin, Majority Leader, speaking on the Super Morning Show earlier today. Well, there's a lot to talk about this particular development here on the top story. As always, brought to you by Telecel, Connecting Energies and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. We have a lot for you here on this particular subject. Well, this is top story, and as you are aware, the president-elect John Dramani Mahama has put together a team, to get sources of information from the public into acts of corruption, and this was contained in a letter, a statement that was released yesterday. It says, as a preparatory measure towards the rollout of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's promise to recover proceeds of corruption and hold persons responsible for such corruption accountable when he assumes office, a team has been set up to receive and gather information from members of the public and other sources on suspected activities or acts of corruption. The team comprises the following individuals: Samuel Kojo Black, Honorable, is chairman; Daniel Domilevo is former Auditor General; COP retired Nathaniel Kofi Boache; Mr. Martin Pegbo is a private legal practitioner; and Mr. Raymond Acha is an investigative journalist. Anti-corruption with Operation Recover All Loot Oral as a major plank formed a core part of His Excellency John Mahama's policy platform in the 2024 campaign, and he intends to hit the ground running on these commitments. So that was a statement signed by Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. Time for me to bring in Mary Ada. She is Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Grateful to you for joining us here. But there have been several arguments about, this initiative by the president-elect. First off, what do you make of that, action to try and get the public to give the committee some information that will help the government deal with corruption? We'll be connecting with Mary Ada shortly, so we can have this interaction with her. Mary Ada is the Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. But several people have spoken about this particular development, questioning the rationale. But the President-elect and Samuel Kojo Blakwa, who is the chairman of this committee, has been explaining thoroughly on the Super Morning Show what they intend to do. That fact, they mention things like Sputnik V, the Sky Railway that was supposed to be developed, that some monies were paid to, and other things that they believe some monies have exchanged hands, but we couldn't actualize the project, or even though some of them were actualized, they feel there are some more to it than meets the eye, and therefore they want to get deeper into it to find out, did some people loot from the state and what needs to be done? That's what they want to do. They want to gather information to then feed the next government when it assumes office in 2025. We have Mary Ada, who will be joining us shortly. We'll also be speaking to government to find out what do they make of this. As people have argued, if this is coming up, of course, government should have a say in it. Or we want to find out from them what they do make of what is happening. But interesting, the members of this committee, people have been talking about Mr. Daniel Domilevo, who was an effective Auditor General, and they say his inclusion really brings a lot to the table. We know that the chairman himself, Samuel Kojo Blakwa, especially for his work on the National Cathedral, and you know that they have even said that some of CHRAJ's work will be a basis for the work that they will be doing. And you know that Samuel Kojoto's expose then led to CHRAJ investigating the National Theatre for it to come up with a report which even then proposed that some of the directors of the National Theatre Secretariat and National Cathedral Secretariat needs to be prosecuted. So people have said, well, the team is a well-rounded committee, and we can probably deal with that. Okay, so I have Mariada here. I'm grateful to you for joining us. I want to find out from you first off your position on this committee by the president-elect.
Thank you very much, Kojo. I believe that it is within the remit of the president-elect's powers to set up whatever group he wants to set up to do or to prosecute his agenda, particularly after he has been inaugurated as such or sworn in as president. And so the justifying factor for this committee at this particular moment is the fact that the letter speaks to the fact that it is a preparatory measure, and then the committee is supposed to receive and gather information. That's where perhaps we should all be asking ourselves, at this point, do we have structures in place in this country which we all must encourage to be able to receive those complaints and gather them, who also have the legal mandate to then investigate and also carry on with prosecution if need be? Why would we be setting this up? So it's in the mind of the president to decide what he is doing, but then we also believe that it is critical that we understand where the president is coming from. We know the oral agenda is one they want to prosecute in a haste. And admittedly, some of us would want to see that happen because we know what it can do for us in country and also in the international space if we get the fight against corruption right. However, the fight against corruption is not limited to oral. And so let's not make that mistake. We in civil society will continue to ask some of the questions that are needed. Again, we know that for a fact, in times past, things like this have been done. Let me go back to 2017 when the government took over them. They put in place a special team that did special audits, and for which the then Auditor General, who is part of this committee, led most of those special audits to uncover something. We know the lessons from those committees, and so we must tread cautiously to not raise too much expectation that the fight against corruption is restricted to oral, and if we do not do oral, we will not be winning a fight. We know that in the past, some of the institutions which have been given the power to investigate and prosecute go to court and they have issues. So for me, I believe that we must tread cautiously and learn from the past so that it will inform the future we all want to see. And we have no doubt whatsoever that the intentions are good, but we need to tread cautiously so that we work within the laws that we have and the institutions already set up. This morning I heard Honorable Kojo talk about the complementary rule. How is it going to fashion out? We also would need some very clear terms of reference that will convince us that this is going to work, and this will not be a sort of committee that has the semblance of some antecedent, some factors that included the committees which meant to vet people. We are in a democracy, so we should be careful on some of these. It's not bad that we want to do this, but let's start on a good footing so that we are able to do the right thing.
So sort of we need more information on this particular committee that has been established.
Critically, we need what is the mandate of it, how is it going to work, how is it going to prosecute, are we going to set up a parallel institution to the two we already have, the formalized ones I talk about, OSP and CHRAJ. What is going to happen? We want to know. Are we going to have the form of citizens vetting committee where we call people to come and answer instant justice or something in a democratic dispensation? What is it we want to know?
But grateful to you. Stay with me on the line. Let me bring in Joseph Wotal, who is Commissioner of CHRAJ. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. As a body that does investigation into some of these institutions and come up with a report, I've heard the committee say some of your works will serve as basis. What's your expectation of the work that this committee will be doing?
Hello, Kojo. As I indicated, I'm actually between Yendi and Tamale on the road, and so some of your words did not come clearly. So if I got you right, very clearly, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice has a mandate which includes investigating corruption. And so to the extent that anyone, including the committee that has been established, like the incoming government, if they gather any evidence or facts that require our investigation, we will put it to our standard procedures, which is determine whether that is within our mandate, and if it's within, we'll proceed with the investigation. And depending on the outcome, we would either make a determination of it based on the legal framework, the mandate that has been given to us by the Constitution and Act 456, or we post it to another institution which can take it forward and conclude. So we don't have any qualms about what has been done by the incoming government. We look forward to it. We only will work within our mandate, provided we are called upon.
Okay, and that if after they've done the investigation, if there's something that is made available to you, you are willing to work with it so far as it meets your standards.
Exactly.
But other people have spoken about the fact that, well, there's CHRAJ. Why not allow CHRAJ, for example, to do its work? Do you go with that kind of thought that, well, the work can be done by institutions such as CHRAJ?
Yeah, I can hardly hear.
Okay, I guess we're having difficulty with Mr. Joseph Wotal, but let me try again and see. Hi, Mr. Wotal, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Wotal. Okay, I think we've lost him, but let me bring in Mary Ada again as we try and get Paul Grave Boache Dankwa so we can have that conversation with him too. Madam Mary Ada, I mean, people say that we should rather allow bodies such as CHRAJ to do that kind of work. And just before you go there, people are also asking, you heard the majority leader there, questioning, what will be the source of funding? Legitimate question to be asking at this time, right? Okay, we'll try and raise Mary Ada back on the line. This is still top story. We're talking about the committee put together by the president-elect John Dramani Mahama to investigate or to collect information from the public into acts of corruption. This, they say, will help them prepare the grounds for the incoming Attorney General to then, hit the grounds running. Several anti-corruption campaigners have spoken about it. You had Mariada say we need more information, terms of reference for this particular committee. Others have asked about the sources of funding of this particular committee's work. We would want to deal more on that, get some more answers on that leg of the conversation about who is going to fund this committee. As we know, the president-elect will be sworn into power on the 7th of January 2025. Before then, this committee will be working. So some people are asking who then funds the work of this particular committee. Is there a legitimate question, or is there legitimacy to that question? Let me try and get Mary on the line. Okay, but Aunt Mary, I'm grateful to you that we've gotten you back. I want to find out from you that people are saying we should be provided with sources of funding for this committee. Legitimate question, right?
Oh, those are all legitimate questions. Certainly, the state would fund if they are sitting. Perhaps they would want to do it on a voluntary basis, but whatever it is, they would sit. Whatever it is, they would have meetings to receive the complaints and also gather the information as it is stipulated in the letter that was shared. And so it's not about a voluntary venture. I am not too sure of those terms. That's why I indicated from the beginning that we would want to know what exactly the clear terms are. And it is important because this government has shown that this elected government, or the president-elect and this government, have shown that they want to hit the ground running. And so one of the attributes of that is accountability. And he has had many platforms where he has shared that it is important to be accountable, it's important to be transparent. So those information would have to be shared, and then we all take it out from there to be able. But those are legitimate questions we need to be asking the people. The people are asking, and we need answers to them. Thank you.
Well, I mean, in terms of how this committee will work, people say there's going to be an office set up for it and to ensure that they are able to collate their work. But effectively, how should the committee conduct or go about its activities to ensure that they effectively achieve the target set for themselves?
I would want to see their terms of reference before I continue to talk about legitimizing and making the committee fit. Certainly, there are SOPs for each committee to work, and I believe they will not go over and beyond some of those SOPs that have been developed over time. Certainly, they would have meetings either online or in person. They will be provided space, and people would send information. The OSP currently does that. The CHRAJ also does that. There are avenues through which people can make complaints, and these, I don't think they will be different. Perhaps maybe they will bring some innovation on board. They would consult more on how to do this, and people are ready and available to support, because the fight against corruption is not being won, and we want to win it. So people are ready to support this process.
Mariada, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Mariada is Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. This has been Top Story, brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Up next is Newsnight.
Meet Amma, my new catch. Born on a Saturday, Amma knows the value of hard work and cleanliness.
Hi there, I'm Amma. I can tackle tough stains on your clothes, leaving them fresh and clean with an amazing sweet fragrance. But that's not all. Got a messy floor? Don't worry, I can handle that too, making your home spotless and welcoming. In the kitchen, I'm your trusted partner, making sure your dishes sparkle and shine.
Amma Multi-Purpose Bar Soap isn't just any soap, it's the soap. Amma Multi-Purpose Soap. Clean with ease, live with joy. Amma Multi-Purpose Soap. The name you can trust for cleaning, washing, bathing, and leaving a sweet fragrance in your home. Also available is Amma Detergent Powder. In stock in selected stores nationwide. This advert is FDA approved.
There's a business in every woman, from the young lady brimming with exciting and novel business ideas to the market queen managing her empire. There's the she architect, quantity surveyor, realtor, business consultant, crafting dreams into reality, and the multitasking mom seamlessly blending work at home. The entrepreneur, meticulously checking stock, to the corporate woman sealing deals on the move. Indeed, there's a business in every woman. Introducing Telecel Women in Business, our initiative to empower women-led and women-owned enterprises. Benefit from tailored activities, networking, business and technical support, free webinars, trainings, and more. To join this initiative, be a female-led business and a Telecel business customer. Visit telecel.com.gh/business to register now.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears. wagging me all night long till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Join us for the 4th live recording of Symphonic Gospel Meets Orchestra, a night of carols and worship with orchestra arrangements like never before. This year's experience will be unforgettable, featuring Once More 6, South Africa, Shante SA, South Africa, Lordina the Soprano, Efe Grace, Kofi Osupepra, Luigi McLean, Prince Denzel, Grace Charles, Enyo Nyam, Shadrach, Kwesi Mensah, and many more. Date December 22nd, 2024, 5 p.m. at the Palms Convention Center, La Palm Beach Hotel. Tickets standard 150 CDs, VIP 300 CDs. Dial star 713 star 33 star 99 hash or visit ticketmiller.com or buy from Vida Cafe at Junction Mall, Accra Mall, Stanbic Heights, East Legon, Frankie's Hotel, Airport Shell, Nalem Clothing, and Community 11 Tema. Sponsors: Concepts Ghana, ISCC, Secure Sanitary Part, Furniture GH, Media Partners, Multimedia Group, Joy FM, Joy Prime, Hits FM, Sunny FM, Channel 1 TV, Sweet Melodies, CTFM, GTV, and TV3. Book your seats now. Doors open at 5 p.m. Don't miss Symphonic Music 2024, an experience to relish.
Welcome to Hefzies, a gift concierge that offers you the best in luxury gifting. Hefzies' range of offerings span hampers, fresh flowers, baby baskets, heritage gifts, and branded souvenirs. Each package is thoughtfully created to be appropriate for the occasion and with the recipient in mind. Most importantly, we do our best with all budgets for a stress-free and impactful gifting experience. Elegance is our hallmark. That is why we call ourselves the purveyors of elegance. Contact Hefzies on 055-594-0022. Locate us at 13 Ni Oyo Avenue behind American House, East Legon. Hefzies, purveyors of elegance.
And the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, almost $1 billion cedis budget for running the Judiciary, Parliament and Audit Service hangs in the balance as Finance Minister fails for the third time to present first quarter of 2024 budget, deepening conspiracy theories among NDC MPs about the outgoing government's intentions. But with barely 2 sittings of Parliament to go on break, what exactly is accounting for the Finance Minister's continuous unexplained absence? We have more for you here on Newsnight. Also tonight, collation of disputed constituencies in limbo as Ghana Police Service declines Electoral Commission's request to provide security just days after the police promised to enhance security at outstanding collation centers.
The Commission had wanted to even today to have a look at all these things, if you can recollect. We wrote to the IGP. They have written back to us that they cannot assure the safety of the process.
We have the very latest for you as the CDD releases its post-election report. Also tonight, with the fate of the Chief Justice hanging in a balance following a petition to remove her, we examine the Ghana Bar Association's past verdict on one of the grounds for her removal and interrogate the case against the Chief Justice.
What is not regular is the Chief Justice directly writing, suggesting names to the presidency. When it comes to appointments at that level, there are two bodies that made the nominations.
And in business, more than 12,000 jobs expected to be created from the third quarter foreign direct investments recorded by the country.
And in sports, we hear from Ghana Athletics appealing for up to $1 million in yearly funding to guarantee medals at the 2028 Olympics.
Also tonight, we're barely 24 hours for the scheduled date for the release of WAEC results to expire. Speaker of Parliament summons Education Minister to brief the House by tomorrow on his intervention on government's indebtedness to WAEC.
WAEC has to incur high costs of conducting examinations because materials cannot be procured in bulk and in advance. Also, WAEC is unable to pay examiners in time.
I will bring you details as Minority in Parliament raises concern over the dire predicament of WAEC. We'll just take your views and comments here on Newsnight 0551111997. My name is Mensah.
And I am Fostina Sarfo. Tonight, for the third day running, the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has failed to present the mini-budget to cater for the first quarter of 2025. This has set tongues waggling and conspiracy theories swirling among the NDC MPs in Parliament. Yesterday, the minority alleged a grand scheme by the government to hamstring the incoming John Mahama government by its failure to present the expenditure in advance of appropriation, which will pay public sector salaries for the first quarter of the next year and ensure government agencies keep operating. Parliamentary Affairs Kweku Asante joins us live with details. Kweku, just run us through some of the key things that have come up today.
This morning, we expected that the minister will appear before the House to present the mini budget. This will not come in the form of the normal budget reading and the fanfare that comes with it. This will just be a paper that will be laid. He will get up on his feet and bow, and then the paper will be referred to the budget committee, who will consider same and present that to the House for a vote. That did not happen. You will recall that on Monday, this item appeared on the other paper, 68.1 billion Ghana cedis that the government is earmarking for the first quarter of 2025. And the expectation was that the minister will appear and do this on behalf of the president. He did not show up. The explanation was that he was caught up in a few busy schedules and then he will be present on Tuesday. On Tuesday as well, he did not show up, and the explanation that was put up by the majority leader, former majority leader, I should say, was Mensah, was that a few changes here and there were being made to the document, and the expectation was that the minister will appear today and bow for that paper to be referred to the appropriate committee. Mind you, yesterday, the NDC continued in their insistence that it appears there is a sinister plot by the government to hamstring the incoming John Mahama administration to literally tie its hands and not enable it to be able to do anything. There are real consequences if this paper is not laid and this budget is not approved before 2025. It will mean all government agencies will grant to a house because there will be no funds to actually keep them running. And yesterday, after Chairman Sabuntu said, it will mean Parliament will not be able to sit, they will not be able to swear in new members of Parliament, elect a new speaker. The president himself, who has just been elected, will also not be sworn in because of the financial commitment it comes to organizing that event, to swear him in and all that. So those are real concerns. And then the cherry on this is that public sector workers will also not be paid up until the government is able to authorize the withdrawal of funds in there. So, of all this, we expected that the minister will come today. When there was time for that agenda, the Speaker of Parliament did indicate and called on the majority leadership to offer some guidance on what exactly was happening. at the time, Habib Idrisu, the first Deputy Majority Whip, was in the chair and indicated that the minister was not ready, the document was not ready. The House then proceeded to do other things. As at the time Parliament was adjourning, the Finance Minister had still not showed up. And so for 3 days running, Fostina, that mini budget has still not been laid. And as we speak, there is no indication as to when exactly Parliament can get that and work on it, given that Parliament is expected to go on break either at the end of this week or for anything, perhaps do the first or second day of next week.
Kweko, you may have to position rightly for me. There seemed to be some interruption with your voice, but I know you've been doing some digging to find answers. What exactly are you picking?
So it appears the NPP side is trying to get some buy-in from the NDC colleagues. There are still a number of things on the other paper that government is really interested in. There are $350 million worth of tax waivers. They've been on the other paper as far back as 2021. A number of companies numbering close to 50, expecting various millions of dollars worth of tax waivers from the government to bring in materials for what government says is 1D, 1F. There is also a $250 million loan that government is looking forward for the Ghana Financial Stability Program. That is still outstanding. There is a matter of two Supreme Court nominees that the president nominated. They've been vetted. Their report is yet to be laid, but that is also still outstanding. And a host of other things that the government side is seeking to get. You will recall on Monday that the second Deputy Majority Whip told Evans Mensah on Newsnight on this same program that they are trying to get the NDC side to also bring something to the table, then they can also meet them halfway. Yesterday on the floor of Parliament, Carlos Ahenkra did say the same thing and said that if the NDC really wanted the mini budget to come, then they should also come close on the tax waivers and other things. They should agree that at least those matters should be put on the table for discussion and then ultimately a vote. So what I'm thinking, and I was speaking to one leader on the NDC side in particular who was telling me that that is some of the advancements that have been made from the NDP side towards them, that they need to strike an agreement. You agree to do a few of these things and then we can agree to do these things. There's a sense that the outgoing government knows that whatever political consequence that will come from not paying government workers who may declare strike and other things next year will not come to them because they are out of government. And that is why ordinarily, while this is a government business, it is the minority that are much more interested in it and asking for it. But the government side seem to want to strike some agreements on other issues that they believe are outstanding. And so we are expecting that some conversations are going to be had. The Speaker of Parliament himself perhaps will intervene to try and see if some compromise can be reached, that the minister can put this important document before the House before it goes on Christmas break.
Now, but the president has already written to Parliament on the budgetary estimates of 3 institutions. Tell us more about that.
Well, yes, the president under the 1992 Constitution is required to approve personally the budget of the Judiciary and the Judicial Service, of the Audit Service, and Parliament and the Parliamentary Service. And so these institutions will write to the president indicating what their estimates are for the first quarter of next year, as it were. These institutions have done so. The president has considered same and has written to the Speaker detailing the amount of money that each of these institutions will require for salaries and goods and services for the first quarter of next year. So the Speaker of Parliament, the first thing he did today was read that communication from the presidency. But all this will mean nothing if the substantive mini budget does not come, because all these will feed into that. And so this is, the Speaker today after speaking was unable to refer those estimates to the committees to work on it, because it will be based on the mini budget that the Finance Minister is expected to present before any action can be taken on these estimates.
Saki Tokonu, by letter dated 21st October 2024, submitted to me the 2025 budget estimates of the Judiciary and the Judicial Service. Under Article 1794 and 5, I am required to lay before Parliament the budget estimates of the Judiciary and the Judicial Service with any recommendations that government may have on them. Accordingly, I submit herewith the budget estimates of the Judiciary and the Judicial Service for the first quarter of the 2025 financial year as summarized below. Honorable members, the total of the summary for compensation, goods and services, capex, and IGF is 276,499,903. I would be grateful if you could cause these estimates of the Judiciary and Justice Service to be laid before Parliament. I count on your usual cooperation. Yours sincerely, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Definitely, the Minister will come to do the needful. The second one, dated the same day, 16th December 2024, is in connection with the same subject matter for the Audit Service. And it reads, Mr. Speaker, Annual Audit Service Annual Estimates for the year 2025. In accordance with Section 27(1) of the Audit Service Act 2000, Act 584, the Act, and Regulation 45 of the Audit Service Regulations 2011, CI 70, the Audit Service, by letter, dated 27th October 2024, under the hand of his board chairman, Professor Edward Dua Ajiman, submitted to me the annual estimates of the Audit Service for the year 2025. Under Section 27(2) of the Act, I am required to lay before Parliament the estimates of the Audit Service with any recommendations that I may make on them. Accordingly, I submit herewith the estimates of the Audit Service for the first quarter for 2025 financial year as summarized below. The total of the summary for compensation, goods and services, and capex.
So that is the speaker there, and this is becoming a serious matter. Yesterday we heard from organized labor on the potential impact on salaries next year. Let's bring in Roxanne Nelson, the Afenyo-Markin from the minority side in Parliament, as Parliament is left right now without answers on how to proceed on the subject of the mini budget. Roxanne, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Do you have any briefing on when this mini budget will be presented?
Thank you very much. Good evening to your listeners. First of all, since returning to the House on the 16th, that's 3 days ago, the indications have been that this paper will be late and handled expressly by the respective committee, reports submitted for the appropriate debates to be had on it, and then approval given. Now, the tardiness, the indolence with which the government side of the House is approaching this matter is what is worrying, because this is a constitutional imperative as captured in Article 180 of the Constitution. For the sake of our listeners, let me just state that Article 180 of the Constitution provides that where it appears to the President that the Appropriation Act in respect of any financial year will not come into operation by the beginning of the financial year, he may, with the prior approval of Parliament, by a resolution authorize the withdrawal of money from the consolidated fund for purpose of meeting expenditure necessary to carry on the services of the government in respect of the period expiring 3 months from the beginning of the financial year, or on the coming into operation of the Act, whichever is earlier. And so the issue is that it's become a convention that anytime a government is taken over from itself or is to be taken over by another government, the expenditure against appropriation act be brought to Parliament by way of a bill passed, and then the new government can meet expenditures from January to March. That's the first quarter. So indeed, even where the president's own mandate was renewed in 2020, they still brought expenditure against appropriation in 2020 December, so that before the 2021 budget is presented, they are mandated by the constitutional imperative to meet expenditures which which normally will include payment of wages for January, February, and March. In 2021, this was what we did for them. So when in 2024, we are faced with the same scenario, we all thought that this will be done with some alacrity. But there appears to be a deliberate delay. But we want
you say deliberate delay. Can you hear me? Apologies for the terrible connection. Let's see if we can get him on a better line on this. And the salaries are at stake. If this is not addressed before Parliament proceeds on that recess, we believe as early as Monday, that means in January, when this Parliament returns, there will be a situation where there'll be possible government shutdown. This is something you hear in the US, but it looks potentially very likely here in Ghana. We'll get further clarity from him as he started using the words like deliberate, and he needs to tell us why he believes that's the case. He was also going to give an assurance to workers who have been complaining about the potential impact on them. We'll stay in Parliament a while longer, Fosti, because we know that in Parliament also today the subject of the government's indebtedness to WAEC, which has crippled his ability to function, also came up, and the Speaker was quite livid about it, asking the Education Minister to come to the House and brief it on what it intends to do, because it really has to do with Ghana's ability to go to the examinations as we have it currently. What is it that we know happened on the floor today?
Well, indeed, the Speaker directed the Education Minister, Dr. Yawedichum, to brief the House on the ministry's plan to deal with government's indebtedness to the West African Examination Council. Well, the council is owed 118 million Ghana cedis by the Ministry of Education, and they are grappling with broken down scanners crucial for processing objective test answer sheets. While the essay marking ended on November 29, 2024, the scanning of objective cards, initially scheduled to conclude by November 30th, has been delayed due to the malfunctioning equipment and the lack of funds for repairs. Presenting a statement on the floor of Parliament, the ranking member of Parliament's Education Committee, Peter Nochukotwe, said the release of the results for senior high schools who wrote WASI hangs in a balance.
Mr. Speaker, the West African Examinations Council was established as an international organization by International Convention in 1952, with its headquarters in Accra, Ghana. To further give legal recognition to the convention, WAEC Law Act 719 of 2006 was passed by the Parliament of Ghana. By the contents of the convention, each of the 5 member countries was to establish a local or national office that was to be responsible for local examinations. Mr. Speaker, as we all know, WAEC is a non-profit making organization and therefore operates on subvention, subscriptions, and fees, both at the local and international levels. The main function of WAEC is to review and consider annually, in consultation with members, examinations to be conducted in the public interest, which must have international recognition, and to conduct such examinations as appropriate, award certificates comparable to those issued by equivalent authorities internationally. The WAEC, Mr. Speaker, at the local level, has been responsible for conducting 2 major examinations on behalf of the government of Ghana. These are the Basic Education Certificate Examinations and the West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examinations. Mr. Speaker, currently, there is a serious financial challenge facing WAEC with regard to the conduct of the 2024 WASI, post-examination activities, and the release of results. According to a press release by WAEC on 19 December, WAEC stated that the Ministry of Education was owing the Council the sum of 118 million Ghana cedis. The effect of the delay in the release of funds to WAEC is negatively affecting their mandate.
And we'll hear from WAEC how exactly this is affecting them. The good news is the Duchum himself, the Education Minister, was on the floor. He gave this very brief response.
It's just a very simple statement about WAEC being owed some money, which he put at 1,1 8 million Ghana cedis. Maybe your attention has not been drawn to it. Yes, honorable members, this is not question time, but it's a statement. And what has happened, just comments coming from members. That definitely is permitted. Minister, kindly take all on board and then try to clarify the situation by tomorrow. That should be sufficient because the image of our country is also at stake. We want to disabuse the minds of Ghanaians if what is being rumored in the social media is incorrect. So please, by tomorrow, you should have some evidence to share with us on this matter.
So the question was put to him, but he didn't have the answers today. Although, yes, he was on the floor, Educhum, the education minister. And so he's been given now time to return tomorrow with the answers to the questions that were put and the concerns raised by Peter Nochu Kotoi. Thankfully, we can speak to John Kapi, who is the head of public affairs at WAEC, who joins us on the line right now. John, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Very quickly, how much are you owed now? We're told 180 million.
Thank you. Good evening. That's what I'm. That is correct. It's 118 million.
And there was a suggestion on the floor today that has crippled your ability to function. How exactly?
Well, that is true because as we speak, we have been able to get examiners who mark the theory and the practical papers. We are done with that. The people started paying them for their services. Now, what is left to be done is to scan the objective answer cards, and those machines are broken down, and unfortunately, we don't have the finances to fix them.
What have you heard from government on this?
Government has been silent about it because, as at the last time some monies were released from weeks ago, just before the elections, we were given some 32 million Ghana cedis. But then we had already presented this issue. So once the money is reflected, we wrote again to the minister, indicating that that money was not enough for us to be able to pay the examiners, as well as fix the machines to continue with the scanning of the objective test answer cards. But as we speak, we have not received any communication from him.
Afenyo-Markin, from what I understand, was scheduled to end November 29th. It has delayed now. Well, what does it mean for exams itself? And we know that the future of our kids are at stake here. Are you able, and I know you work with timelines because this is the West Africa Examination Council. You work within a regional body. Are you behind time when it comes to your counterparts in other West African countries? And what really does it mean for the child in school?
Well, for the essay and practical papers, as I said, those ones have been marked. Those are done by examiners. They are done with their work. Now, if you talk about timelines, yes, we've not been able to keep to our timelines. I would say that thankfully, this particular exam was conducted for candidates in Ghana only. And so our colleagues in the other countries do not have any challenges. They have already conducted theirs and released their results. It's left with us here in Ghana to release the results. And unfortunately, our dates that we set for the release of results was supposed to be tomorrow, 19th. But unfortunately, as we speak, it is not possible for us to release the results tomorrow.
Do you have a deadline for releasing those reports, or is now you are in the state of not knowing when exactly you can release the results?
We don't know exactly when we release them because the components that we are so supposed to work on has not been done. So once funds are released, I will fix those machines. We will continue with the process, and hopefully we will release the results.
John Kapi, thank you very much. And that there is the clarity. So unless this is dealt with, they are unable to release those results that are affected by this. Let's return to our earlier story, the story around the mini budget, the budget for the first quarter of 2025, which really has a lot to do with workers' salaries. And if you're in the public sector, your salary is in there. If it's not approved, you will not get paid. In fact, the entire government machinery will have to grind to a halt because there'll be no money to run it. Just before we switch to the subject of WAEC, we're listening to Roxy Nelson Dafiamekbo on the minority side make the point that it appears to them that this is a deliberate ploy on the part of the government and the finance minister to frustrate the process. So next year, they will have to bear the brunt of workers who will be very, very upset that they're not going to be paid in January, February, and March. Let me bring him back into the conversation. You use the word deliberate. Why?
Deliberate because the government side in Parliament are aware that Parliament may rise on Friday for the Christmas and the New Year's break. And so by the time we are back after the New Year, the life of the current budget would have been caused by a flushing of time. So, but the life of the government will not end at the end of 31st December 2024. It ends at midnight, 6th January 2025. So they'll be incurring expenditure between the 1st of January and the 6th of January. So they should be committed to the process. Now the excuse is that the finance minister who is supposed to present this paper in Parliament or late, as you say, is making some amendment. Who says that a paper presented cannot be amended, even though it's before Parliament? So that excuse that some amendment is taking place in respect of the content of the expenditure against appropriation is neither here nor there. We want that to be late. If it is late, then of course, whatever amendments there are to be made to the document can always be effected, and then the old one can be withdrawn, the new one laid, because it's engaged Parliament. These are matters that we can even do under a certificate of agency. Parliament can pass this in a matter of hours. The most important thing is that Parliament being saved with it. Now we are not saved with it. It's not presented to us. That's where the anxiety is coming from.
I mean, stay with me. Let's get some clarity from the majority side. I want to bring in Andy Japamesa, who's the outgoing member of Parliament for second email. Mr. Japamesa, so why are you frustrating this process? Is this deliberate?
It's imperative. They cannot run away with it.
Yeah.
They cannot run away from it. So they will, by all means, will have to undertake this constitutional imperative.
Stay with me.
They do it,
the better. I mean, stay with me, Roxy. Stay with me, Roxy. Let me bring in Andy Japamesa. Mr. Mensah.
Yes, Evans.
Yes. Why are you frustrating this when you know the entire government machinery for the first quarter of 2025 is at stake here?
Let me say good evening to your cherished listeners. I'm not so sure whether the issue of frustration arises at all, because you recall that when we went for the long recess in end of July through to October, Parliament was due to resume in October to consider some important government businesses, including this issue of the expenditure in advance of appropriation in October for 3-4 weeks, I believe, before we go on the elections break and come back. I'm sure you recall what transpired in Parliament, when rather than focusing on the business of government, our friends, in connivance with the Speaker, chose to do otherwise. They sat in the Chamber of Parliament and sang revolutionary songs, rather than focusing on the business that government had programmed that included this constitutional imperative, and to deal with them at the time that they were supposed to be dealt with.
So the incoming government brought this on themselves, you're saying?
Absolutely. So we go on elections, we come back, and government, which they admit is in office until the 6th of January 2025, tables a plethora of businesses that they intend to execute. And then they, in opposition, say that, well, we will pick and choose the business that you, government, has to do. Where does that happen? And that
rather than allow for the issue to be tabled so that we can take a decision on them. They say no, we will do X and Y and not do all the business that government intends, some of which have been outstanding for months.
Keeping them honest, so is that why you are withholding the expenditure in advance of appropriation?
It's not a question of whether one is withholding. It's a question of, do we intend to execute the business of government or not? So that's a question that they have to answer. So if they intend to execute the business of government, then let's deal with them. But if they want to pick and choose, because they see that they are coming into office in January and that they need this expenditure in advance of appropriation, and every other item that government intends to prosecute is of no consequence, then you will have a stalemate as you're having.
But while you do that, you are actually jeopardizing the entire government. But most importantly, worker salaries.
No, of course, people are going to be paid. When the minority is prepared to do the work for which the people of Ghana are paying them to do. So let's get to work.
I mean, Roxing, get to work, he says.
Evan.
Yes.
I've listened to Ejapa and I'm pretty scandalized. I have in my hand the order paper for 16th of December. That's Monday, 16th of December. Now, if we go to item number 10, presentation of papers. Item number 10A, Roman numeral I. By the presentation of papers by the Minister for Finance, expenditure in advance of appropriation for January to March 2025. Ask Ejapa why was this not done on Monday? Ask him.
Why?
Ask him. No, ask him.
I'm asking you. You were in Parliament too.
They dilly-dallied. Instead of seeing to the presentation of that paper, we spent forever on the content of the business statement for the week. So they never saw to that for that to be done.
No, but his point is that you had an opportunity before Parliament.
I have in my hand.
You decided not to do the business.
No. You see, Evan, let us speak to facts. These businesses have been prioritized in Parliament. Yesterday, we were looking for a single Minister of State so that this paper could be laid. All of them ran away from Parliament, including their own leadership.
No, but his point to you that the problem predates yesterday and Monday.
Evans, pursuant to our Order 96, presentation of papers, ministers of state or chairmen of committees can present papers. Why is it that none of them were willing yesterday for that to be done? Again, I have in my hand the order paper for today. Tuesday, that's for Tuesday, 17th December 2020. Again, if you go to item number 7, presentation of papers, 7A, expenditure in advance of appropriation for January to March 2025. Why was this again not done?
Yeah, Roxing, when the majority side triggered the constitutional process to recall Parliament, he says it is the reason why that was done, so that they can execute government business in the House. And you frustrated the process at the time.
It is not true. It is not true. Let me give you the history of the recall they did this year.
Unfortunately, I don't have the time for the history.
Hold on. On 31st July 2024, they requested for a recall. We came back to Parliament in September. In September, we came back. Asked them what happened. They took the loan and went away without seeing to the rest of the business. Then Parliament was recalled properly from its vacation in October 15th. These businesses were outstanding. They walked away from Parliament. Then again, they put in a request for a second recall, listing some of these businesses. This is the recall. That was the recall that Speaker rejected. But as it may, now we are back in Parliament. This particular business has been listed about 3 times. It was listed on Monday, listed yesterday, it's been listed today. Why aren't they interested in pursuing this matter?
Well, he's told you categorically that if you are not willing to do business on other subjects and you want to choose and pick, then they will also choose and pick. And this will not be part of those that they choose.
All the businesses will have to be taken one after the other.
Yeah, but why do you want to start with that? They also want to start with others, including the
But look
tax
on the
waivers.
order paper. If you want the order paper to be varied, it's a matter of saying so to the speaker. I've told you that on the 16th of December, the first item under presentation of papers, item number 10, 10A, is the presentation of this paper and the expenditure in advance of appropriation for January to March 2025. That was the first item. He, as their leader, as the leader of government business, they prioritize the business this way.
And Andy, by the way, this is still about government business. What's the compromise? There must be one, Andy Japamesa.
Business to do. We didn't do it. The order paper speaks to itself.
Roxy, just a second.
Let's put the records where they are. Okay, it's not a question of shouting or anything.
I am not shouting. I'm speaking to the order paper. You are misleading the public. That was the first business in terms of priority on the order paper.
Know the conversations that have taken place in conclave between your leadership, our leadership, and the speaker as regards the business that you and your side would accommodate and those that you will not accommodate. You know. So it has nothing to do with the other paper or what item is listed first. In any event, when the recall was triggered in July, certain matters that were listed for which the speaker adjourned Parliament abruptly, was what was requested for us to determine. Through August, the speaker did not act. We came in September when leadership met in conclave. You guys insisted on the items that you were going to agree to be listed. At the time, the expenditure in advance of appropriation was not part of the items. Because indeed and in fact, it was during the third retreat of cabinet when the first quarter expenditure in advance of appropriation was tabled for consideration, end of September, I believe, before it was listed for the third or fourth meeting of Parliament. Now, when we came in October, we all know what happened in Parliament. You were fighting to be in majority. You sat on the floor, the hallowed floor of Parliament, and sang revolutionary songs.
Well, Andy Japamesa, that is history, and I made the point earlier that I'm really not interested in that. I mean, for the workers and for the
issues
yes,
in their proper
but that history we all know. We know that history. The listeners know that history. Let me ask you.
It cannot be said
progress.
that government is deliberately refusing to table this.
But what you told me earlier about they choosing and picking suggests that this has been done deliberately.
It's not deliberate. I'm saying that it's part of the parliamentary calendar.
So will you or will you not present this for government to get a decision on, for the parliament to get a decision on?
Government is saying this, that it has a plethora of businesses that it has to execute, including the expenditure in advance of appropriation. The NDC minority is saying that it's only the expenditure in advance of appropriation and nothing else. How are we going to run the country like that? Based on such positions that are taken by the minority.
Okay. Andy Japamesa, thank you very much. Roxanne Nelson, definitely, thank you very much. And we're going to be doing business now. But when we return, we will also interrogate what we've been hearing from the Electoral Commission as far as the recollection of some results in constituencies are concerned, including a request to the police to protect the process, to bring men to the collation centers to ensure that security is maintained there. And then we'll also hear from the Ghana Bar Association on its verdict in the past on one of the grounds for the removal of the Chief Justice. And George, you are faced here with business. And George, this subject of government business is a very important one. There's a conversation in the U.S. in the last few days about the potential government shutdown. It happens almost regularly there. Yeah. We are in territories now that this could be our reality in 2025, January to March, because of this confusion in Parliament over the expenditure in advance of appropriation.
Yeah. Again, it's true, and you can draw the similarities between what has happened in US and even the measures that they've taken to actually address that problem. We also understand from those who matter is that the assurance that we are picking up is that it will be late before they go on a Christmas break. But let's see whether
we'll do that.
Well,
we have clarity on that.
We're picking information
that
it is going to happen, and so let's see whether that will happen or not, because there are implications as to what will happen if it's not laid before the House before the Christmas break.
You have a headline, George.
Well, Evans, coming up in business, more than 12,000 jobs expected to be created from the third quarter foreign direct investments recorded by the country. And some analysts downplay impact of removing some taxes on the economy. By the Income Administration, we'll be hearing from political risk analyst Dr. Chio Champon. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Kingdom Books and Stationery, and Synthesis Tanks.
My man, I heard there's a new app on the streets that does it all for you.
Really? How is that possible?
Charlie, I also could not believe it too. But I downloaded the app and I'm telling you, I was able to chat with my friends, make video calls, and...
Well, we know of many apps that can do that.
Oh, let me finish, la. I was also able to listen to the latest songs, play games, and read the latest sports news.
For real?
Yeah, and I can send and receive money from the app. Amazing, no?
What's the name of this app?
It's called Ayoba.
Ayoba?
Yeah, Ayoba.
Get Ayoba, your all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, share, play, pay, and listen to music all in one app for everyone. Enjoy Ayoba with MTN and download the Ayoba app today. Everywhere you go.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is organizing its end-of-year furniture promotional sales from the 15th of November to the 31st of December this year. Kingdom Books and Stationery is giving away a whopping 10 to 15% discount on all furniture at our furniture shops. Head office, Akweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema, Comte 4, Takrady, opposite Fijai Maze Plaza, Cape Coast, University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic, Centerpoint Mall, Winneba, University Campus, KNUSD, the University Bookshop, Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit and shop online at www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764101 or email us at info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Dear Chatwo, a son say a bushing no from Quintino. You can't say ye Pepsodent, ye didn't also a canyaman.
Hey, wohu, we could hear wo, no he wole, was shre, nana no ne, whatever.
Hey, Ampo, Odinda so, Imamenai, and Hefana, dear. One so bet to me to ding out to President Busia Park no so. But we bush who buy more who do, for we need to rest to a bear will not come to President Busia Park. FDA, check the inquiry yet to move.
Get ready for another exciting and memorable time with the family as we bring you yet another fun-packed edition of the Joy FM Family Party in the Park.
Set in the Ebri Botanical Gardens, families will once again be treated to lots of bonding and fun activities such as cooking competitions, tag of peace, sack race, musical chairs, dancing competitions, and so much more.
Guess what? We're taking it a notch higher this year. There will be a whole food village where some of your favorite food brands will be present, so you don't need to bother about food at all.
And the new Games Village will be lit with assorted 3D games, FIFA, and many others. This Christmas, Santa will be there with his bag of goodies for the family.
That's not all. Kamido, Kwampa, Kwabena, and many other artists will mount the stage to light up the party.
The Joy FM Family Party in the Park is simply the place to be for families this Christmas.
Mark the date, 26th of December 2024.
Ebri Botanical Gardens, 10 a.m. sharp. Tickets are going for only 200 Ghana cedis for a family of 6.
To purchase your ticket, use the short code *714*003*3#. Select Party in the Park and follow the prompt.
The Joy FM Family Party in the Park is brought to you by Frito Cooking Oil. You deserve a life of goodness. Fortune Low Fat Spread for Bread. Always on point. DBS Roofing Industry, your roof experts. Velton's Beer, distributed by Kingdom Books and Stationery. Aquaba Bottled Mineral Water. Day by Day Men, distributed by Dream Cosmetics. Joy FM Family Party in the Park, creating memorable family moments.
This Toyota engine is always grumpy. That's because it doesn't use Toyota oil. This is what it sounds like every day.
You really won't go now? Okay, make we try go.
And this Toyota engine uses Toyota oil. Listen to the difference.
Good morning, everybody. Is it time to leave yet? It'll be my pleasure to take you wherever you want to go.
Nothing makes your engine happier than Toyota Genuine Motor Oil. Because it's made specifically with your Toyota in mind, it will bring out the best in your Toyota engine. Toyota Genuine Motor Oil. Available at Toyota Ghana Company Limited.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, more than 12,000 jobs are expected to be created from the third quarter foreign investment report recorded by the country. Now, that's according to the quarterly investment report released by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. There is more in the following report.
These are jobs that will be created from 180 projects that the Ghana Investment Promotion Center registered in the third quarter of this year, which was valued at $316 million. The projects that were registered represent an 8% increase over what the country recorded in the same period for last year. The jobs should be coming from sectors like agriculture, building and construction, exports, services and tourism. The rest are manufacturing, general trade and liaison. More than 80% of these jobs will go to Ghanaians, while foreigners will account for the remaining 11.7%. The quarterly investment report also showed that 43 wholly Ghanaian-owned projects were registered for the Ghana Investment Promotion Center for the third quarter of this year, which is said to be valued at $1.3 billion.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, some economists are downplaying the impact on the economy over plans to remove some taxes from next year. The income administration led by President-elect John Mahama has promised to scrap some taxes within the first 90 days in power. One can talk about the E-levy, the COVID levy, the 10% levy on bedwettings, and the emissions levy. Economist and political risk analyst Dr. Chue Champon is one of those analysts that we have been engaging. Let's hear his thoughts.
Taxes bring in. So if you take, for example, the E-levy and the COVID-19 levy, you add them up. Last year we got a little around 3.4 billion Ghana cedis. If you convert that to dollar terms, that's a little under $300 million. Now, again, for emphasis and context, I don't think that giving 3 billion plus just for those two tax handles to Ghanaians back, and the fact that this would help ameliorate and cushion and deal with the present cost of living crisis is something that the government would not be able to do. Number two, I also don't think that the fiscal impact of this will be as big as people are actually, making it out to be.
Economist and political risk analyst Dr. Chue Champon. Now, senior lecturer at the Department of University of Ghana Business School, that is Dr. Chue Champon, as Dr. Benjamin Amoah has expressed worry about the rise in non-performing loans by banks. According to him, a robust and efficient credit scoring system could help deal with this challenge. He's been speaking to Joy Business.
So long as you provide credit in any form, as a bank or even if you are selling normal tangible goods and services and it's on credit, you will have the problem with non-performance in terms of loans or credit. It's moving more from cash-based transactions to a credit-supported economy. We'll be confronted with non-performing loans. But the issue then is the high level of non-performing loans. That clearly shows that we are having challenges and difficulties in loan management from the banks. And that will start from when the loan request is made by the client. The process that the client will go through, the before loan process, right? Then the after loan. Once we start building up this culture of credit scoring, right from the universities or let's say the tertiary institutions, young adult level. And then you have your credit score, you have a score, it will be your responsibility to maintain a good score.
Dr. Benjamin Amwa is a senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, speaking at the launch of the Financial Literacy Educators Association of Ghana program today. That was launched, the launched association, University of Ghana Business School today. And that's all for business on News Night.
Let's do sports now. Ms. Bao is here with the latest.
Yeah, Evans, the president of Ghana Athletics, Bao Hussein, is urging the government to commit up to $1 million in annual funding to secure a medal at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. He says the Ghana's 72-year medal drought, which continued after the 2024 Paralympic Games, can only end with consistent investment in athletics.
Preparations start now. Olympic game is so huge that if you leave it for federations to prepare for it, we will never get there. The federation can get the athletes, the federation can get the coaches, but the federation will lack the financial muscle to be able to get the athlete to where the athletes want to be. Australia, they are doing it. UK, they are doing it. Kenya, they are doing it. Why can't we do that? So our preparation for the Olympics 2028 should start 2025, not only by word, but it should also be by deed. If the state of Ghana give her resources, Ghana Athletics give her resources every year, between $500 to $1 million a year, I can guarantee it that 2028 Ghana will win a medal at the Olympic Games.
That's Bao Hussein, president of Ghana Athletics. Meanwhile, the member of parliament for Iboka South, Samuel Atachia, has called for rather a thorough cost-benefit analysis of the sector to guide strategic investment and harness its economic potential. Evans, that's it for sports.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bao.
And it's time now to shift our attention to the collation of disputed constituency. That is in limbo, Evans, because the Ghana Police Service, they have declined the Electoral Commission's request to provide security. The collation of some of the results from some constituencies, including Domi Kwabenya, Ablikman North, and in Samwam Adwajiri, was expected to continue today. However, that has failed to come off as scheduled. Head of training at the EC, Dr. Strebo Kweku, explained that they wrote to the police to provide security. However, that request was shut down.
Some people are saying the commission should have done A, B, C. Right now that we are here, let them come here. All of us will run away. Who will be bold enough to meet them? Who? All of us will run away. So we need to also talk of the security of the processes. Because if you don't have the security, no matter how well you prepare for it, it will come to naught. We're in a situation where even this police command themselves are being turned upside down. And the other day I was saying that now no part of the collation process is safe because they can come in at any time. The commission had wanted to even today to have a look at all these things if you can recollate. We wrote to the IGP. They have written back to us that they cannot assure of the safety of the process. I have the letter. I just showed it to you. So, where are we now? And I don't think collating results where people know the results from the polling station should be something that we should be fighting over.
You know, the New Patriotic Party, they've not taken a case to court. They want the Electoral Commission that the court should declare that the Electoral Commission should go back and recollect the results on the wake of the police's letter to the EC, though, where does that leave the MPP? I want to bring in his Director of Elections, Mr. Nimako. What's your reaction to the disclosure there by Serebo Kwaku that they wrote to the police, that the police wrote back that they cannot guarantee the security of the process?
Well, thank you, Evans. I think we all find ourselves in a very uncomfortable situation. I mean, why do we get to this stage? We were able to conduct for ourselves as a country December 7th election as a result of the combined effect of contributions from all stakeholders, i.e., media, political parties, electoral commission, and the security architecture. I think at this point, we must get this straight. Going into the elections, it was the National Election Security Task Force, which was chaired by the IGP, there are other security agencies. If the police is overwhelmed by activities of some individuals who are exhibiting clear lawlessness, should we all sit and fold our arms, or we should question the situation we find ourselves? I think that we are either not being fair to ourselves, or we think that Dr. Baumia, having accepted the presidential results, should end this whole process. But hey, we went into elections for presidential and parliamentary. And you can all attest to the fact that the confusion that erupted in these collation centers were the actions of the NDC.
And you make the point that if the election security task force led by the police service and the IGP isn't in a position to provide the security, are you suggesting that the military should be deployed?
I'm saying that the whole security architecture was not only the definition of the Ghana Police Service. It was the combined effect of all the security agencies. And so, if today we are being told that the remaining constituencies that need to have their collation done cannot be done because the Ghana Police Service cannot provide the necessary security architecture, then it's very unfortunate.
Thank you very much. That there is Evans Namako, is the Director of Elections for the NPP.
Evans, just before we leave, what makes Christmas special to you? That's the question my colleague Esther Nkrumah posed to patron Satosu, and she filed this report.
When you see the streets of Accra and major roundabouts lit up with glittering fairy lights and beautiful decorations, you know it's that time of the year again, Christmas.
Come and behold him, born the King of angels.
Christmas is a favorite time of the year for many people. For some, it's more than just a religious significance. It's a time to show love to others, bond with family, and well, it's about the excitement of receiving hampers from employers and loved ones. And not to forget the much-deserved break from work.
We're here on the vibrant streets of Osu to find out what makes Christmas truly special to people. Is it the joy that comes from giving, the warmth from family, or perhaps something special? We'll find out.
We individuals, we normally see that as a whole year that you've been alive, then as the year is going to end, you need to give thanks to God. And at the same time, actually celebrate with your family. Just gather your family and then just show some love and make them happy.
But to me, being alive alone, get to spend time with families and friends that I haven't seen for a long time alone is enough for me.
Okay, for me, during Christmas, most family come together to celebrate. So I think family from different parts of the world, they all come together. So it's like a family reunion for me.
And for others, it's about the food and the Christmas decorations.
About the Christmas tree, when you see it, you know that Christmas is on. And about the Santa dressing, it's so beautiful and nice. You see it and it's all fun and you are laughing. You're like, yeah, people are happy and it's nice.
Mine is the food. You see people, that's when delicious meals and the food. You bring out your cooking skills. What's your favorite Christmas meal? Most people like the rice with the chicken and stuff, but I would like to go with the fufu. You see the fufu, yes?
Whether it's the food, spending time with family, or the beautiful Christmas decor, one thing is certain, Christmas holds a special place in our hearts. For Joy News, Esther A.C. Nkrumah's report.
On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
And that's it for a news night tonight. I'm pretty sure you're looking forward to Christmas, Fostina.
I am. I have a tall list of what I'm going to do for Dirty December. And trust me, it's going to be great.
I don't want to know. I don't know the rest of your evening.